It's essentially a dead heat in Iowa. What does it tell us that the top two names are Romney and Santorum? This is the CitizenLink report. I'm Stuart Shepard along with Tom Minnery, our executive director. Hi, Tom.
Hello, Stuart.
It's a new year and we decided we might as well get a new set and upgrade a little bit. How do you like it?
I love it, and I understand that you spent some quality time here over the Christmas break putting this thing together. You did a good job. It looks great. Thank
you for that. It came together pretty well. We want to talk about Iowa and how things went. First, Governor Romney won by a handful of votes, but many people would say that it was a surprising second-place finish by Rick Santorum, perhaps even a win for him to come so close to the top. But I'd like to set up our conversation by sharing how the mainstream media is describing what happened up there. This is from CNN, quote, "Iowa's Republican electorate shattered Tuesday night, showing a party establishment under siege and voters unable to coalesce behind any candidate in a deeply flawed field." How would you describe what happened up there?
Well, I have heard CNN report things like that. I just do not know which election they were watching on Tuesday night because, as I've said before, this is a highly articulate field of experienced people. And they're all capable debaters. It's a very strong field, and I think the outcome in Iowa was just what we would expect, given what Iowa is and who the people are who live there.
And it particularly plays into, I think, Senator Santorum's method of campaigning that he did there.
Oh, it does. In Iowa, you need to do retail campaigning, small group events, dinner parties, the kind of thing that requires more shoe leather than money. And Rick Santorum had a lot of the former, a little bit of the latter. He put all of his time, all of his effort, and what little money he had into Iowa. So he did well, and it was a wonderful result for Rick Santorum.
Let's talk about the social issues between the top two contenders. How would you describe Romney versus Santorum? What makes what's different about them? What's the same?
Generally speaking, Romney is a convert to social conservative issues, and he has not been able to make that sale completely to a lot of people in Iowa. 50 to 60% of the people who voted in the Iowa caucuses identify as evangelical Christians. And for a member of the Latter-day Saints Church, a Mormon, such as Mitt Romney, to do well there is a little bit of a tough sale. But the fact that he matched the leading evangelical candidate, Rick Santorum, indicates to me the kind of very serious nature of the election year that we're entering.
And as far as differentiation on life, marriage, those kind of issues?
Mitt Romney would say there's no daylight between what he believes and what Santorum believes. And now that's a little bit difficult because Rick Santorum gives a wonderful, devoted, highly energetic defense of marriage from the Christian perspective. It gives an equally strong defense of the pro-life issue from the moment of conception. A person is a person from a moment of conception. You won't see that, you won't hear that from Mitt Romney. And so he's not been able to make that sale very well, although he claims to have those same beliefs.
Let's take a quick look at the rest of the field. Senator Ron Paul came in third. Now, he apparently won the under 30 vote, which is interesting because we have Romney who won the over 65 vote. Santorum reportedly pulled the 45 to 65-year-old vote. Here's 76-year-old Ron Paul getting the under 30 crowd. What do you make of this?
It's always been a phenomenon of those young people who follow Ron Paul wherever he goes. We've experienced that raucous nature of his following at some of the conferences that we've been at. But something else happened in Iowa, and that is that twice as many independents decided to participate in the Iowa caucuses this year compared to 4 years ago. Now, the caucuses are structured so that even if you're a Democrat, you can enroll as a Republican for the night of the caucus. And I think a lot of them did that because I think that the foreign policy, basically the anti-war nature of Ron Paul's foreign defense strategy, appeals to those who are anti-war, which tend to be more liberal people. So I think he attracted, for the night only, a lot of people who aren't truly Republicans.
Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich came in fourth. He says he's going to continue. He's going to keep the campaign going.
He did. Newt Gingrich got his nose bloodied by Newt Gingrich in a lot of television advertising.
By Mitt Romney.
That's right. Excuse me, by Mitt Romney. Now, Mitt Romney would say, I didn't run any negative ads. No, the super PACs that were independent, but obviously aligned emotionally and issue-wise with Mitt Romney, ran a lot of advertising pummeling Newt Gingrich. And that has angered Newt Gingrich. And Newt Gingrich now says that he's going to respond to the misstatements of fact that those aligned with Mitt Romney made during the Iowa Caucus run-up. I'm sorry to see that, because I would hope that the candidates would begin focusing their attention on President Obama, who they're really running against. But if they from here on tear each other down without stopping, I think it's going to leave them both in tatters. So I'm a little bit concerned about the negativity that was launched against Newt Gingrich, and now Newt Gingrich's determination to tell the truth, which may or may not be an angry mien about him, but I don't know, and I'm not happy about that.
Now, Texas Governor Rick Perry came in 5th place. He started out strong and then has kind of faded over the course of the campaign. Has had some bobbles here and there, which have been magnified by the mainstream media as they go along. He finished the evening saying he was going to go back to Texas to reassess. Well,
it's a good thing for him to do that. Nobody spent more money in Iowa, as I understand it, than Rick Perry, and for him to do as poorly as he did signifies the importance of the debates in this cycle, because it was in those debates that Rick Perry fell down a few times. I think people are so eager to find a candidate who will do well in the general election this fall that they won't have much time to spend on a candidate who cannot comport himself well during the debates, and Rick Perry did not do that.
And finally, another strong social conservative, Michelle Bachmann, representative from Minnesota, says she's going to call it quits. She's going to suspend her campaign.
Yeah, she has a very tough re-election battle to her congressional seat that she's got to go back to Minnesota and pay some attention to. She did a great job. She articulated the social conservative issues very well. I was so pleased. She exemplifies the articulation that characterizes the lineup of candidates this year, but also she expresses the realization that it is hard to become a presidential candidate from a seat in the House of Representatives. It's hard enough to do well from the U.S. Senate, let alone the House.
Now, it's important to remember, as you mentioned just a minute ago, these folks aren't just running against each other. They're all hoping for the opportunity to run against President Obama in the mainstream election. Tom, before I ask you the next question, I want you to describe for me the Tea Party agenda. How would you summarize what the Tea Party stands for?
All those things that are bound up in lower taxes, don't spend any more than you make government, and get out of our lives. Now, that is largely an economic agenda, but a lot of those people are social conservatives, Christian people. I've said before, and I still say it, a lot of us are emphasizing Tea Party type issues this year because the situation is so bad for the country, and because there are so many avenues of internet-based and cable-based news channels that people can get a variety of information on and can really find out what's going on.
So lower taxes, limited government, a return to the Constitution, to constitutional values, that foundation, that kind of sets us up. Because I got an email in the wee hours of the morning from the Obama campaign under the subject line, and I'm quoting here, "This is not a joke," was the subject line. I thought, oh, I got to read that. And this is what one line from that email: "The extremist Tea Party agenda won a clear victory." Now, when you realize what the Tea Party truly stands for, a return to the founders' ideas about the Constitution, limited government, and lower taxes, that means the president appears to be running against all of those things.
Well, I think the Tea Party represents a huge movement. We saw that in 2010 with the taking over of the House of Representatives by Republicans and the predominance of the Tea Party movement. So if these are extremists, there are a whole lot of them now in Congress, and that movement seems to be staying with the Republican Party, at least for now, and that's a good thing. There is some maturation here I thought perhaps there'd be a breakaway third-party movement. Not the case. So I congratulate those Tea Party leaders who realized by now that politics is very frustrating, but we got to work the process if we want to make gains.
All right. Well, Tom, thank you for your insights. Thank you for keeping track of this, and we will keep you informed as we go along about how all of this plays out. Thanks to those of you who have been writing to us, those of you who like what we do, those of you who think we ought to do something a little different. We enjoy reading them and appreciate your comments and criticisms. You may always write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. We encourage you to pray for all of those who are running for office, that they may make wise decisions as they move along, whether to stay in, whether to bail out. And also remember, stand tall and be heard.